If you're looking to improve data or analysis skills or improve skills when it comes to contributing value to product development or growing a business unit or growing an entire business, presentation and communication of performance insight are important, especially if you report to a manager or to a team. If you want to understand how to create a dashboard, this video should give you some ideas. So we're going to take a look at a Data Studio eCommerce dashboard template. Make sure you're logged into Google and go to datastudio.google.com. You'll be brought to this Data Studio homepage where you can see any reports that you have access to, or you can create a new report or dashboard. It also gives you some templates you can look at to give you ideas on creating a new dashboard or report. So you can start with a blank report, or you can take a look at these templates that they have here, or you can click on template gallery to view more templates. So that's what we'll do, and you can see they have a couple more templates here, as well as even more if you click on see more. So they have templates for Google Ads, they have templates for display and video 360 if you have access to the Google Marketing Suite. They have templates for Google Analytics and templates for YouTube. So what we're going to look at today is the template for the e-commerce store, which will take a data source from Google Analytics. So if you click on that, it'll open up this template and you can take a look at what kind of data they have here. And we're just going to review the format of this template. Now, what Google has here, some of it might not be applicable to you, might not be useful to you, but really they're just giving us a format that we can use and we can change and shape to our own liking. So I'm only going to review the components and details of this template, and in the next video I'll go through the actual creation, the actual changes that I would apply to this template. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel so that you can receive the notification for that video. Now, as we start to look at this dashboard, the first thing we see is the title. Of course, this is a very important component of the dashboard, as the title tells us what this dashboard covers. So Google Merchandise Store, but we have no idea what specifically will be covered in this dashboard. Like, is it going to tell us how the website's doing? Is it going to tell us about the uptime of the website? Is it going to tell us that Google will start getting into shoes to compete with Air Jordans? Will the dashboard show us that Google needs to offer a shoe to compete with the Dior Jordan 1s at a price point of a couple $1,000s? So we'd want to indicate that this dashboard is an e-commerce overview dashboard. There's a drop-down to select your data source. If you only have one data source for this dashboard, you probably don't need this drop-down. And then there's the drop-down for the date range to select the date range. That's pretty useful, allowing users to select the date range that they want. Now let's look at these other drop-downs that we have. So we have drop-downs for device category, country, source medium of the traffic, and user type. And these are all great options to have to allow the users to segment and filter the data. The only thing I would change here is for country and for the source medium drop-downs, these dimensions that might have many values to look through in order to find specific values is to use a search bar, enable a search bar for these drop downs. Moving on to the actual data, this chart for sessions looks fine. For this revenue chart, you can see the unit, the dollar sign, when you hover over the data points, but I would add an axis title, because right now you can't add dollar sign or currency signs to the axis labels. The data for these two charts disappeared on us. I mean, they're not coming through, so we'll figure out how to replace these charts with something else. Here we have our key performance indicators, or KPIs. Sessions is okay. The rest I'm not too hot about. Maybe if you could combine like product detail views and product adds to cart into a ratio, that might be more useful. Some other KPIs that we could include would be product revenue and e-commerce conversion rate. Those are pretty important. And then add a comparison to the previous time frame. I think that would be really useful. And then instead of having it on the right here, since people tend to read things from left to right, I would try to figure out how to place these KPIs across the top, so it's the first thing that we read in the dashboard, because they are our key performance indicators. As we go to the data tables here, we notice for the first one, the data doesn't seem to be sorted by any particular metric nor dimension. Now, looking at this a little bit closely, it seems to be modeled after the user's experience, where the audience, the way that the audience reads this data table mirrors or parallels how a user on the Google Merchandise Store would go through their experience of purchasing a product. So first, the user would go through the products, look at the product details, and add the cart, and then end up purchasing. So we see the amount of revenue from purchases, and then this breakdown of revenue per purchase. And then lastly, we have cart to detail rate. So the last two columns are kind of calculations of some of the other metrics here. This is kind of similar to how Google Analytics actually displays their reports in the interface. The order of the dimensions, I think, is up for debate, but I would sort this table probably by product revenue or something important, an important metric like that. You could reorder this table where you have the most important metric as the first metric column, followed by these other metrics which further break down the insights. In the second data table, we have these source medium breakdowns of these metrics here. Now, what they've done is sort the table by e-commerce conversion rate, which is nice. But the first row here is not set for both source and medium. Unfortunately, that doesn't help us, because what that's telling us is the source and the medium were not defined. So I might choose to sort by revenue instead, where we can see that direct source produced the most revenue, and then we can see the e-commerce conversion rate there. I would give each of these data tables their own title so that the audience realizes what they're looking at in these tables, so that they don't have to figure out what the data is showing here. This chart over here shows us a breakdown of sessions and revenue by device category, so that's nice. The only thing I would add or change for this chart is to add a title. And then for this last chart here, it shows us the revenue by city. Okay, this one has the title, and then it gives us the top five cities, and then it groups all the others into one big category. So we see that all the others constitutes 74% of the revenue. That's not really useful to anybody. I mean, this breakdown for the city, so we have 7.8 for San Jose, 7% for San Francisco. That's nice, but I would figure out how to maybe break down others even further, add a few more, maybe bring it up to 10 cities or so, and see if we can remove the label for the 74% here, or figure out some way to change it. I want to know what your thoughts are about this template that Google has provided, so leave a comment below. Thanks for going through this review with me. I would absolutely appreciate it if you like, subscribe, and share this video. And I think you would appreciate it as well, because in the next video we'll go over how you can actually make the changes to improve this dashboard. See you in the next episode.